So here's a knife I don't think a lot of people are aware even exists, but it is probably my favorite bushcrafting knife. Comes in their gold case. I think there's only like 5 Spydercos that have ever came in this kind of case. And right away you get a very cool handmade leather bushcrafting holster, scabbard, whatever. It's got a spot up front right here for a sharpening stone, which is really cool. It doesn't come with one. I really wish it did, but this is the Spyderco Zoomer. It is a gigantic chunk of CPM 20 CV. I mean, it is a freaking monster. This is all hand done G10. So there are 2 scales that have been glued together, and then it is polished and sanded down on a wheel by hand in their Taiwan facility. It's one of the few Spydercos that I really wish they didn't put a hole in, because I feel like this being a bushcrafting knife, it's probably the most likely one to get damaged. I mean, there's not many 20 CV blades that are that thick. I mean, this is up there. 20 CV being the American version of Bowler M390, and in my opinion the quality and production of 20 CV is superior to M390, and I have a couple reasons that I can say that. As many people know, Bowler M390 is made in Italy. Nothing wrong with Italy. Here is a knife from Italy that is M390. Right? Within a week of having this, just dropping it once, I rolled a couple of these jimping. It's hard to see on camera, but they're plain as day when you look with your eyes. You know, that is some very soft steel. You know, you would expect chipping over, you know, swedging like that. Look at that. Right? I drooled over this knife for a long time too. This is the Viper Katla. This thing came out right before the pandemic happened, so it was unobtainium. Yeah, got a good deal on it. Pretty cool knife. This was designed as a bushcraft knife by Tom Zoomer. I do believe he is from Denmark or the Netherlands. Forgive me for not knowing. I really wish they would have chose a different font, because that is some deep etching. It's got to be like 0.5 millimeter in there. Just kind of whack the way they did that. But the knife in general, man, this thing is, if I had one choice for like the end of the world kind of knife, it'd be this guy. I would definitely put it in a piece of Kydex, not this. And maybe with time this would start to retain itself a little better, but it doesn't really retain it that well at all, especially for being so probably expensive to produce. And I've worn this only a couple times and it's already picked up some damage, but it is a pretty sweet little setup. The Spyderco Zoomer, enormous piece of 20 CV. So it's not many knives that people recognize here because I like weird stuff, but the wee banter, right? That's kind of a little knife, right? It's probably I used to carry one of these every day for a long time. The Satsu folder. It's a really, you know, decently sized knife. Yeah, Spyderco Zoomer. Doesn't get much better than this. It's got a 0 grind, so there is no additional bevel. That's part of the maybe the complaint with this knife. is that it is convex, right? Slightly convex all the way down, and there is no secondary edge. It just leads to an edge, which is supposedly really good for bushcrafting because this is literally just ground on both sides to a tip. But the negative of that is that if you were to put a secondary edge on that, you would lose a lot of that geometry. So you pretty much have to work that entire edge on a stone, right? Or maybe some polishing compound on a belt or something, and it'll ruin the finish. But she was designed to be a work knife, and honestly, maybe other than Tom Zoomer himself, I don't think many people have done that, but I plan on doing it. These things are not cheap. I saw this on eBay from a seller that obviously had a bunch of them, listing them for $450, which is just crazy, right? And I have this habit of just sending oddball, to give me an opportunity to give them the best offer. I'll just put it out there, and I put $85 down as a best offer. The dude countered with 100, and I bid. It's $100 for a 400. I think now you can get them for around 420 or $400, but you cannot beat that deal, man. So I wasn't expecting to win it. It was just kind of a goof. Oh, maybe he'll bite, but he did. So wish I remembered that seller's name, but I really appreciate it. Spyderco Zoomer.